Hey guys, hello. A little bit late. Let me just get myself sorted here. Yeah, I've got to do that as well. Busy morning with sessions. Look at me, I'm overexposed. You know I don't like that. Anyway, just have to put up with it. Hey Donna, I'm pretty sure there was a question or two here. Let me find this group on Facebook. How are you guys going? I'm going to put an ID on this in a minute. Bright light beings. That's where we're at. Hey Jane. There I am. Hey Sister Ashki. Happy Wednesday, Debbie. Up there in Mount Maunganui in the car park at the beach, in the van, doing the study. There's all sorts of stuff going on down the thing. Anyway, I'm coming on here. Oh, that's right. I put the poster on about weirdness. Weird is the new awesome. Okay, awesome. There's a question from Ashki as well. How to move past resistance to my weirdness. Yeah, let's talk about that. Anyway, I'm going to start at the top though. And I haven't had my drink. I've just got off a session which ran, and then I had to quickly nip in and help Marie. Well, I didn't actually manage to help Marie sort out her computer. Life. We all have to deal with life. It's friggin' never as straightforward as we would like, is it? Never as easy as we would like. Never, flows just that easy. We have this fairy tale idea that if we're doing spirituality right, if we've sort of got our shit all together, then everything would just be easy and there'd be no real challenges and there'd be no emotional upset and everything would just be happy and I'm in the flow and everything just goes one into the next and there's not a challenge. I don't know, I don't experience that. And of course there's moments where stuff happens and you go, well, that was kind of magical that just aligned, that was sort of synchronistic. But in general, from moment to moment during your day, I think there's always points of challenge that helps us to move through whatever we are releasing, for example, whatever we are evolving through. Anyway, I'm going to have a mouthful of this because it's going to give me some grounding. Right, let's go. Sister Zena from Australia. Love to know your thoughts on the role our animal companions play in our spiritual development and how aware you believe they are of this role. That's interesting, isn't it? I'll start with the first part. Fiber needed then helps. Right. I'll go back through those comments in a minute. I think I missed a bit of stuff. Getting our shit together. I get it. Thanks, Ashki. Right. Our animal companions. What role do they play in our spiritual development? Interesting around the words around here. Animals help because animals help us in a lot of ways energetically. Animals really help with healing and feeling companionship. Animals really help in feeling grounded and belonging. Animal companions, though, in our development, really help us to open our heart. That's where I feel that animals help us the most in our development, right? They help a lot in helping us to feel calm. They help us a lot in dealing with anxiety, for example. Hey, Sister Elizabeth. They help us a lot in a lot of ways, but in terms of how do they really help in our spiritual development, I think it's the main way they help us is to open our heart. Are they aware that they are actually playing a role in our spiritual development, that I'm not so sure of. And I don't think it matters. Animals are just following the energy. Animals are just following their heart. And it comes down to what aspect of the animal are we talking about when we say, is the animal aware? Is the higher self of the animal aware? Probably, right? Just like your higher self is aware of a lot more things than you are as the personality, right? Are you aware you're even on a process of spiritual development? Most of us, most of the time, are not, right? We just live in our life. We're just following the energy. We're just doing what we need to survive. Hey, Sister Anne. So awareness is an interesting point of, I won't use debate, but an awesome point of contemplation. You know, when we talk about awareness, when we talk about our own awareness, generally we're talking about our personality self being aware of something. When we talk about an animal being aware of something, are we talking about their personality self being aware of it? Because I don't know that those concepts really cognate for them. You know, horses and dogs and cats, do they really cognate that they're playing a role in spiritual development? I'm not 100% sure, but my gut feeling is I doubt it. But then I come back and I say, does it really matter? Because ultimately, this is a question I ask myself a lot of the time when I get lost in contemplating things. I think, where is this going? Is this just my ego wanting to have information for the sake of information, or is this information going to turn into wisdom that I actually can apply in ways that is serviceful to me and others? Because a lot of the time, dear little ego just wants to make itself feel better by thinking it understands. And a lot of the time we can waste time in contemplations and inspire more to the point than just wasting time, because what's time and how can it be wasted? But we can create contractions or entanglements that we don't need to take in trying to appease the ego in this ladder of understanding, right? Oh, I understand that, you know, thinking that somehow makes us safer or better or stronger or whatever, more useful. I'm more useful because I understand stuff. Maybe. Not so sure. There's a lot of understanding out there that isn't applied in any way to bring evolution, to bring expansion. You could argue the knowledge itself is an expansion, and I can't really argue against that. It all comes down to how we're expending energy and if it's really serving us. But anyway, animals are great. At the end of the day, animals are very, very valid ways for many of us to progress on the path. Animals really help us to feel more calm and more present and more relaxed. Animals help us relax, and anything that helps us relax is going to help us progress spiritually, right? Anything that calms us down is going to help us. Anything that, as I said before, opens our heart and allows us to exchange in an unconditional, loving way is very, very valid. I'm not sure when I was talking about devotional practices. I think it was in my other group, in my subscription community, the Transformation and Empowerment Support Community. I was talking about devotion and devotion to self, and how any devotion ends up in allowing us to progress more into devotion to self, our higher self and God. And it happens just basically through, if you open your heart is open. And so people get very devoted to their animals, and devotion to your pet, your companion, is a valid way in finding more devotion or heart connection with God, source, universe, and self, which is one and the same at the end of the day. So it's very, very valid to do whatever practices really help us to open our heart. I was talking about how I use my yoga practice, my devotional yoga practice, going to satsang, singing bhajans, to help me open my heart, and that led me to having a deeper connection with myself and to ultimately allowing myself to become a channel through the process of, going to satsang, which is basically like going to church and singing hymns, singing devotional songs that help elevate your vibration. Whatever elevates your vibration in a loving way is very, very valid in our process of spiritual development. And so whether that's, singing kirtan or drumming circles or making love or working with an animal or whatever it might be, whatever opens your heart and creates that space is valid and very, very beneficial, especially when we have an understanding of an intention of where we're going. Awesome. Thank you for that, Zena and Samantha, who piggybacked on, interested in that. Sister Julie added some to the word weird. Apparently, in Latin, the word also has connotations of meaning fate, synchronicity, destiny, and magic. I love all of that. Weird is the new awesome. Okay, so Ashki asked down here, excuse me, I feel like I need to belch, but I haven't quite managed. And if you have questions, please write them up. I know I've missed a few, but I've missed a few comments, but I will get back to what comes through the screen in a moment. Anyway, how to move past resistance to my weirdness. Since I got stuck in the past due to feeling rejected, non-acceptance, or alternatively jealousy from others. Yeah, so how to move past your weirdness is resistance to being weird. Okay, I'll read this from Sylvie because it's kind of on topic of what we were just talking about. Is that C more going to work? No. I will look at it up here and then I'll come back to talking about weirdness. Well, not only devoted to my cat helped me progress immensely in opening my heart, but it prepared me to meeting my soulmate, and my cat is devoted to healing me. This is just graceful. Yeah, awesome. So relationships with animals help us develop love, and love can work into not just our relationship with ourself, but to relate to other humans and to potentially maintain, romantic relationships and deeper relationships in general. Animals are great teachers in doing relationship and working with love and being unconditional and compassionate. Animals are amazing in what they forgive us for and how they move through different experiences. So awesome. Thanks, Sylvie. Okay, so the resistance to being weird. First and foremost, I think, Ashki, we have to understand that this resistance to being weird is very, very deep. It wasn't that long ago on this planet that we got burnt at the stake for being weird, right? Being of the supernatural, being labeled as a witch. Weirdness has been definitely maligned on this planet as not a good thing, and that has been driven by the authorities that want to keep us small and disempowered so they can keep controlling us and basically, term I might use, milking us, right? Siphoning our energy, siphoning our workforce for a long time. So we all have a lot of resistance to being weird. Our parents tried to help us not be weird. They tried to teach us how to be normal because out of love, basically, they're not trying to disempower us, but they bought into the idea that weird people get persecuted and rejected and don't have a good time here on the planet. And so being weird has been dangerous for a long time, including in this lifetime, right? So we have past life experiences of weirdness leading us into discomfort, to put it mildly, and we also have this lifetime experiences as a childhood being whatever, singled out, bullied. Weird has been a tenuous relationship for a long time. Sorry, someone's just coming to the door for yoga. Not my door, but their door, our door. So first and foremost, understand why you have resistance to it. That always helps. When you understand that you have resistance for a reason, then it helps you to not justify. What's that word? When you can validate whether the resistance actually has pertinence today. In this current situation that you're in, is your weirdness going to get you persecuted again? Is it going to, what's the worst that can happen in this situation, right? Coming back to that idea, because it's true that we all have history, but we can't allow, it's not going to serve us to allow our history to keep dictating what we do into the future. If we were to allow that to happen, anything that's gone wrong in the past, we're not going to do again. Then our opportunity for doing anything is going to get smaller and smaller and smaller. And we are basically going to limit ourselves into oblivion through not willing to take the risk that anything that's happened badly in our past, we're not willing to try again. So we understand that if we were to allow our past to keep dictating our future, we would never evolve. We would never try anything new, because we wouldn't be willing to take that risk. If we didn't have proof that it was going to work based on our history, then we wouldn't be willing to do it today. So we understand that we're not limited like that, because we can see in the world that evolution is happening all around us. We can see that we don't live by this resistance that we can't do. I'm really not enjoying the amount of, there we go, that's better, exposure. So we understand that we're always, and humanity has always stepped past its history. We have stepped past the past in order to have a new future. And so recognize that and be willing to do it. Be willing to go, well, in the past I've been persecuted for being weird, but you know what? It feels really appropriate for me to be weird right now. To be myself, basically, to allow myself to be transparent and open and vulnerable in the supernaturalness of me, in the non-compliance of me, in the fantasticness of me, right? Living in fantasy beyond reality, because reality is a very controlled and contrived thing that we live here in the 3D world. It's very matrix-ish, and fantasy steps past that. Being fantastic steps past being normal. And so that's what we're here to do. We're light bearers, we're way showers, we're here to forge a new pathway into a more expansive reality, which is quote unquote weird by definition to the muggles, right? To the sleepers, to the immature souls who really cling to staying normal to stay safe, right? Staying in the crowd is the way to stay safe. We're choosing to step out of that. It's not easy. It's not easy. So how? First of all, so having some understanding of that helps us to find the courage to do it. Secondly, what's going to really help you to do it is to stay strong in yourself. And that has to happen from an energetic foundation upwards and outwards. Hey, Sister Michelle. So it's valuable to spend time, to invest time in doing your connection, whatever is connection for you to God, Source, Universe, Higher Self. Your meditations, your coloring practice, your deep breathing, your exercise, whatever it is that sustains you, is valid thing to be doing to help you step into courageously being yourself, finding a foundation in your own energy. For me, it's about doing a specific breathing practice where I breathe into my solar plexus and consciously choose to increase the light that is there to basically allow my own essence, my own divinity to populate the energetic center and to radiate out through me. That gives me the courage to step into being judged, to step into being judgeable, to step into being abnormal and visible, and to stand out as someone who is not complying with what society expects me to be. And I'm not talking about, a massive protest in the street here. I'm just talking about walking in my own energy and not diminishing that based on what I perceive others want from me. it's a progression, right? It's a progression and it's an evolution, and it's not a quick fix, and it's not either off or on. We're all doing this to some extent, and we're all could do it more, right? We could all be more real, and we are all being real to an extent. Where you draw the line at whether you say you're being yourself or not is completely arbitrary. So the next thing to do, right? So one is to have an understanding. Two is to really fuel yourself with the energy that helps you step into. I can share that breathing with you, and let's do that. I'll set aside I'm going to talk about one more thing, and then we'll do some breathing together. I'm just looking at the time. That went really quick, but I think I started a little bit late. So the other thing to do, so understand, connect to yourself, and then be willing to do some healing around this. So, or to get some help with healing around this, right? Personally, I work with my higher self in my meditations. You don't need light language to do this. You don't need to be quote unquote weird. You just basically hold an intent to allow your higher self, or the higher aspects of you, or your guides, the beings who help you, to work back through time, space, history, dimensions, whatever we want to call it, the past, to work back through that place and release the experiences that are overly influencing your ability to confidently and comfortably step forward into being yourself / weird, right? Whether they're this lifetime experiences or past lifetime experiences, allowing yourself to go through a process where you release that, where you bring in forgiveness for those who have labeled you in the past, right? And it's not about yeah, I know, actually we can definitely work on this more then, or whatever else is up for you, but it's about allowing yourself to go through a healing process around this stuff, and to bring in forgiveness. And forgiveness is not about justifying what they did and making it right. It's about just letting it all go, right? It's about lubricating this pathway with love so that we don't hang on to these experiences and allow them to create resistance in moving forward, right? Because it's true, many of us have come on the wrong side of other people's jealousy, and many of us have come up against, non-acceptance fear. Some people have been jealous about us. Some people have been fearful of us as we have not complied. We have not been in normality with the rest of the world, with what society wants from us. Just quickly have a look what Sylvie wrote, and then we're going to do a little breathing practice together, my friends. Your process really helped me with owning my weirdness. Actually, I have been labelled as crazy in some situations, and now pretty much everyone in my life accepts me as I am. I just maintain the best connections. Yeah, I'm selective, but my family, friends, aligned clients, and soulmates accept the whole weirdness of me. So this is an interesting point, Sylvie, and everyone else. Sylvie brings up an interesting point, that when we really honour ourselves, when we really find the confidence in ourselves, then others tend to accept us. What's very common is when we're self-conscious about being weird, then others will judge us very quickly. When we're self-conscious on anything, when we're scared of anything, it tends to get reflected back to us very, very effectively. The external world and other people in our life tend to reflect our own fears back to us. So if we're feeling doubtful that we're going to be accepted because we are weird, our own judgment, we tend to see that come back to us from the external world. When we feel confident and relaxed in ourselves and basically don't care that other people judge us, then they don't tend to judge us. That's the irony of it. The irony of it is when you relax around being judged, you don't tend to get judged nearly as much. And when you're resistant to being judged, when you're scared of being judged, then it seems to be in your face all the time. I think, I'm going to read it here, Sister Michelle. I think it would be hard to let go with love when that person has deliberately been hurtful mentally and physically over and over. Yeah, it is hard. to see that they're deliberately choosing to hurt you because they're wounded. Not because they're evil, not because they're not because they hate you. You think this hate thing goes on, but it's not really that they're not really sent by God they're not sent here to diminish your comfort, right? They're wounded people. And when you can bring compassion to the fact that these people are wounded, they are a repercussion of their past. Everyone is a repercussion of their past. Doesn't matter what they're doing. There's no inherent evilness. There's love and there's the absence of love. And many people are stuck in the absence of love based on experiences they've had in the past. And they're using coping mechanisms to try and validate their experience here on the planet. And many of those coping mechanisms are cruel. Many of those coping mechanisms are narcissistic. Many of those coping mechanisms are messed up, abhorrent to our view of looking at the world. But it's only our view, it's only our perspective. So it is difficult to forgive energies, people that seem to have been persecuting us deliberately. Freaking hell. We've been deliberately persecuted as beings of light on this planet in very, very deliberate ways by beings of darkness. They're not evil. It's just their viewpoint on the world is different to ours. And from their point of view, we are the abhorrent ones. We are creating them great discomfort in bringing the light. Darkness doesn't like the light. We hurt them. We hurt beings of darkness. Not deliberately, but just through our beingness. So from their point of view, we are evil and they're not right, and neither are we. There is no right. It's a game. It's a game where light and dark interact in this way to have experiences. When you can understand that your point of view is not the highest point of view based on any absoluteness, based on God, right? So you can become much more forgiving when you realize that it's just a game and everyone's doing the best that they can from their perspective. And that might not align with what serves you. And so you may need to maintain distance and protect yourself against certain beings who have certain agendas that don't align with your comfort and your happiness, right? So we're not here to destroy the darkness, but we are here to maintain boundaries with them, right? We don't need to just because they're not wrong doesn't mean we allow them to walk all over us, right? We understand that there's no wrong or right, and yet we hold boundaries and keep people who don't resonate with us away from us because it doesn't serve us or them to have relationship with them. It's a matter of letting, because as soon as we make something wrong or right, we go into stress. We create contractions. We fight against things. And what we fight against, we feed. When you're fighting against or making someone wrong, judging someone who's persecuted in the past, then you're basically feeding them and you're going to be stuck in that relationship. You are not going to evolve. You're not going to transform out of it. So it's difficult. It's difficult. But this forgiveness is basically the key to your evolution. It's the key to your happiness. It's the key to your freedom. Basically, for you to be free from that persecution, you need to be willing to forgive, which doesn't mean forget and let them keep doing it. It means just letting go of the wrongness and taking action so that you create the conditions that are conducive to your happiness, which might mean getting away from that particular person or those particular people. Sister Sarah wrote in, I don't know if this is healthy, but I've stopped thinking about forgiving others. Not sure they need my forgiveness. They don't need anything. It's all about you. And instead working on choosing what's healthier for me, regardless of what others think of it. I've been hurt by them. Yeah, perfect, Sarah. So understanding that forgiveness is not a rightness and it's not a should. Forgiveness is basically a vibration of love that sets us free. Yeah, it is hard when it's your own child. That is true, Michelle. But at the same time, we don't choose our children. And so you have to be willing to maintain strong boundaries so that you don't keep being diminished by their vibration. It's ultimately it's the best for them and it's the best for you to help them grow and to help you grow. You can hold strong intent for their happiness and you can hold them in love remotely, but you must be willing to create boundaries that keep you safe, because being in that persecuted space and then not being able to forgive them, holding resistance and resentment towards them, isn't healthy for either of you. Anyway, back to what Sarah said. So we don't forgive others for them. It's not a rightness. It's not that God wants us to forgive. You know, a lot of people get caught up in this idea that I have to forgive in order to win the game. You don't, right? It's not about that. It's forgiveness is a tool that we use to set ourselves free. If you are already free, you don't need to keep doing forgiveness, right? If you're already free and you can basically focus on choosing what's healthier for you, then great, keep moving with that. As I said, forgiveness is not a mental task. It's an energy. It's an energy, and it's an energetic choice to set yourself free of contraction and judgments, right? And again, people get very hung up on being judgmental. Oh, I shouldn't be judgmental. It's not that you shouldn't be judgmental. It's just that judgmentality traps you. It's not a should from the absolute, from God, source, universe, that, oh, you shouldn't be, you're doing the wrong thing, you're being judgmental. It's just as being judgmental has consequences, and it's an entrapment. It basically, when you judge something else as wrong, then you tend to gather all of the pain that was associated with that and keep it as evidence, right? Which holds you right back from being happy, right? Judgmentality keeps you out of happiness. Oh, you might think that you're being right in your mind, and there's a level of satisfaction in maintaining that righteousness in your mind. They did the wrong thing and I did the right thing, and that makes you feel kind of good, but you're not happy in that. That's not freedom. That's not expansive joy, right? That's as mental satisfaction as I'm right and they're wrong. That is so low on the scale of happiness compared to, you know, setting yourself free and just being in the moment and that vibration. Okay, let's do some breathing together, shall we? This is going to be 3 minutes. There's a whole lot of other things just floating through my head, but I'm just going to let them go. So, close your eyes. Allow yourself to sit comfortably. Allow your belly to relax so there's some space down there. And just as you inhale, as you inspire, allow the breath to flow a little deeper. We're not trying to overly fill our lungs right now. We're not completely filling our lungs. We're just breathing into the bottom of our lungs primarily. Allowing yourself to use your diaphragm. Feel that your belly pushes out as you breathe in. Allow your belly to really hang out. No one's watching you right now, so just let your belly hang out as you breathe deep. And as you exhale, just let your belly return and let your diaphragm relax and let the air just slowly leave your body. Choose to use your diaphragm as you breathe in order to really stimulate that part of your body, your solar plexus. We call it in Ayurveda, we call it the Jata Agni, the fire of digestion. You know, this is really, really, on a physiological level, this is such a beneficial thing to do. Breathing with your diaphragm turns off the stress response, right? Brings you back to rest and digest. Breathing with your diaphragm massages your liver, your stomach, your spleen, all of it, right? Your digestive organs, your intestines, all gets massaged by this pumping action with your diaphragm. It's like a health tonic. You're consciously choosing to massage all of these organs that are so important for your health. And you're sending a message to your nervous system to relax. It's all happening automatically. You don't need to try hard. All you need to do is remember to breathe with your diaphragm. To really allow your navel to push out as you inhale. If you were to spend a couple of minutes doing this, maybe 3 times a day, your health will improve without a doubt. Without a doubt. Your metabolism will fire up, you will lose weight, you will feel stronger, you will have more energy. As you get into the habit of breathing with your diaphragm consistently, you become unstoppable. You become much more clearer mentally, much more strong in your willpower. You're stimulating your will center. This is all just happening physiologically. We're not doing any woo-woo shit here. We're not doing any imaginations, any intention work. We're just employing the natural healing mechanism, the natural maintenance mechanism of a physical body, the human body. Pure biology, biological science. Imagine if our children were taught this at the age of 3, to breathe with their belly consistently. Different world. Okay, so now we'll add another layer. As you inhale into your solar plexus, as you inhale into your belly, allow yourself to feel, to visualize, to know that there's this beautiful, strong, rich, golden yellow vibration, energy, light, just bubbling up from deep within you somewhere. You can't even recognize where that source is, but it is the source. It's not necessarily streaming in through the top of your head or coming up through your feet from the earth. It's just materializing within you, effervescent, just bubbling up, because you are connected intrinsically to an infinite source of beingness. And so as you inhale, just allow that to grow strong like a golden ball of light in your solar plexus, the sun within you. And as you exhale, allow it just to radiate out, the warmth. The sun is just sharing its energy with every aspect of you, physically, mentally, energetically, emotionally, spiritually. You're sustaining yourself from the inside out. You're supplying yourself with the raw power, the Shakti that you use to maintain your bhava, bhava in Sanskrit, the spiritual power, the true desire. Your confidence. Not an egoic confidence that I'm always right, but a confidence that knows there is no wrong or right. A confidence that knows that just in the beingness of you is all that matters. It doesn't matter who judges you. It doesn't matter what others think of you. It's what you think of yourself is all that matters. And the more confidence you have in your own perspective of self, your own self-acceptance, then others will naturally accept you. They'll be irresistibly drawn to you based on the true confidence that you exhibit. That some would call X factor, the mana, we call it here in Aotearoa, New Zealand. The Maori word is mana, the internal power, self-respect, the self-esteem, the willpower. With each inhalation, you're stimulating it to arise from within you, and with each exhalation, you're sharing it with all of you. And not just with all of you, it's basically starting to radiate out around you. You become like a light, a source, a beacon. You're radiating this energy because you have an infinite supply of it. You don't need to keep it contained. You don't need to hang on to it. You share it. You allow it to radiate out around you. You don't need to protect yourself. You don't need to worry about others stealing this energy because you are an infinite source of it. And as you radiate it out, it basically buffers you against the world. It protects you against the harshness of reality, of other people, of their projections. The darkness can't come upstream against the light, just like darkness can't envelop a candle. The only way darkness can take over a candle is for the winds of doubt to come through and extinguish the flame, or for the candle to be covered over from fear. Close the curtains, keep the darkness out. You don't need to keep darkness out. You know at home, you turn the light on at night, you don't need to close the curtains to keep the darkness out. The only reason you close the curtains is you're scared that other people will see in. You're scared other people will see you in the light. Ironically, when you close the curtains, now darkness is all around the house. You actually are less protected. People can come right up to the house without being seen. Open your curtains. Let your own light shine out. You don't need to keep yourself hidden. You are more protected as you radiate your light out around you. And as you radiate your light out around you, not only are you protecting yourself, you're actually becoming visible to people who resonate with you. Your aligned allies, your friends, your colleagues, your lovers, people who like you will be able to recognize you because you let them see who you are and they feel the resonance and they're attracted to you. Not just people, but experiences and opportunities come your way when you allow your light to radiate out into the world around you. The more often you choose to stop just for a moment or two and to take a deep breath with this intent, to bring your own light into yourself, to release and relax out of the mental contraction and stress, and to let your light radiate out around you to protect you and to attract your best situations, the better off you're going to be. It really is simple, my friends. It doesn't need to be difficult. I know you have an expectation that complexity yields great results, but it doesn't. Time and time again, simplicity wins the day. It's the most effective. Awesome. Okay, my friends, we have gone well over time, just for a change. Chat with Matt. Sylvie wrote in, what helped me is to differentiate the difference between being judgmental, which makes me unhappy, but still keeping discernment to maintain boundaries. Not as judgment or good, bad. Yeah, so exactly, Sylvie. It is very important because I also talk to a lot of people who contract around their self-judgment, interestingly enough, that they're too judgmental. And when we inquire into it, they're not really judgmental at all. They're just aware. So being aware that someone's not in resonance with you, that someone's doing behavior that doesn't appeal to you, that's not judgmental. That's awareness, right? And then you can apply discrimination, not discrimination that you make them wrong, right? This word discrimination gets a bad rap, but you can make choice as to whether you associate with them or not based on your awareness. That's not judgmental, right? You're not making them wrong for being the way that they are. You're just choosing not to associate with them because you recognize they're not in alignment with you, right? Just because a situation doesn't serve you doesn't mean that it's wrong. And when we have that understanding, we can differentiate the difference between judgmental and awareness, right? Discernment. So awesome. Thank you for that addition to this little conversation. Anyway, my friends, much, much love to you all. We'll be back again next week. Might be a little bit difficult, but we'll try. If I don't show up next week, my apologies, but I will be out of town. We've got a retreat happening starting next Thursday, and I do this on a Wednesday. So I'll be out of town, but we'll see. And where we're doing the retreat, apparently we have very little internet, if any, and maybe not even phone connection. So anywho, my friends, the other thing that I wish to bring up is, you are welcome, Donna, is I will be on the it's called the Wisdom Sacred Circle, I think. Community, Wisdom Sacred Community. It's Ian Shelley's subscription community. It's about $11 per month to be a member of that. There's like 30 of us facilitators who are part of that. And tomorrow, in about 24 hours, plus a couple, 26 hours or so from now, I will be on there live doing a thing around surrendering into the joy of something. I can't actually remember what I wrote, what I put the title as, but it's basically to stay present, be happy, and enjoy life in the present moment, letting go of the seriousness of life. That's basically what we will be talking about tomorrow in there. If you are a member of that community, I look forward to serving you. If you're not a member of that community, you can look at joining. I have somewhere above or below put a link to join that community. It'd be great if you could use that link because it feeds back to me a little. Maybe I'll pop it in somewhere. I can't remember. I'm pretty sure I put it in this group, right? Somewhere. Maybe I haven't. Anyway, I'll do it now. I'll do it now if you're interested in checking out what you get for the Wisdom Queue. You get 40% off all of the packages that Ian offers on from all past and present speakers on the Wisdom show, Wisdom of the Ancients show. Anyway, you are very welcome, Denise and Jane. So much love to you all. I'll be doing that. I'm always available, right? So if you have a question and you don't feel like asking it on this platform, then send me an email and I will do my best to help you. And if you want a session with me, reach out and we'll sort that out as well. I'm here to serve you. If you want help in other ways, if you want to join our Mantara's Transformation Empowerment Support Community, that's only $1 for the first month. You can check it out for $1. It's 33 New Zealand dollars, which is about 25 US or a little less per month after that. Ton of value, ton of different opportunities to work with us and be supported by us energetically in an ongoing way. If you're interested in that, reach out and I'll send you the details. Either pop a little comment on here and I'll link you to it, or send me an email or a messenger or whatever. I'm here to serve you guys. Don't be shy. Much love. Bye for now. Namaste.